Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Shane.
And this is NFGeeks.
Geeks.
All right, Shane, thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah,
welcome
no
to
problem.
NFGeeks. This is Shane's first time on NFGeeks, and Shane is an INFJ. So, and INFJs have always had NFGeeks' back through many controversies and horribleness. So I'm always glad to have an INFJ on board. All right, so for my first episode with a new guest, I always kind of go over NF values and orientations that all the NFs share, that you and I share. And what I'd like you to do is just sort of talk about how they manifest in your life, or how you feel about them, or just any kind of opinion you have at all about them. All right, so the first one I want to talk about is one that is something you and I actually share, and that is a sort of a love of the humanities. And so when I say humanities, I mean humanities subjects: philosophy, literature, art, poetry, theology, religion, all those are humanities subjects. And so I'd like your opinion on that. What's your favorite ones, and where you are with all that?
Okay. Well, I think my favorite one would definitely be literature. Right now I'm in AP Lit class. Well, AP Literature, full name.
Right.
Lit is abbreviation.
Right, exactly.
um,
As opposed to being lit up.
Yeah.
Which might be true too.
Yeah, I'm in that class right now, and I really find it interesting. We obviously, a goal of the class is to read as many classical books as we can. Well, not classical specifically, like the genre classical, but like classics.
Right. So it's
Um,
kind of world lit. It's not just British lit.
Yeah,
or,
no,
it's
it's
you're
all across
over.
the board.
Right.
American, British,
Time,
yeah.
through history.
Sophocles. Everyone,
Oh, great! I didn't realize that. Oh, that's awesome.
And I might even study it as an undergrad when I go off to college. I either want to be a professor, thinking about maybe a politician, but I kind of like lean away from that because there's a lot of like other bull crap that you have to deal with. It's not actually like just policy making.
Machiavelli. You have to
Yeah.
be Machiavellian for
exactly.
that one.
So I don't know. I'd really like to be a professor like you. You know what I mean? It seems like right when I'm talking to someone, describing something to someone that they don't know, and I'm trying to like teach someone, that feels like that just feels like a place where I want to be. You know what I mean? But
Professor in literature?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you're gonna be a literature major.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, so what are your? Let's start with the favorites. What are your favorite pieces of literature, or types of literature? Where do your tastes lean?
Well, I'd say right now my favorite book that I've ever read right now is All the King's Men by Robert Penn Warren. I think it is, right? Yeah. I don't know. That book is, well, obviously, as I just said, I like politics too, but that book's is the plot line's mainly about politics.
Yeah, that's right.
And but it's also, there's a lot of philosophical like undercurrents running through the book. For example, he starts off thinking life is just like random, and like everything just kind of happens at random, and you just have to like stick with the cards that you're dealt with, and you can't really do anything to influence like what's going to happen to you. But then like as things go on, and things start happening to him, he realizes that it's more logical than that, and that things do happen for a reason, and like something you do might cause something years from now down the road to happen. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's meaningful to you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Because I totally believe that life has a logical pattern to it. Well, not necessarily logical, but like
predictable.
Not predictable even, really. It's more like things happen for a reason. You know what I mean? Like if
metaphysical.
Basically, like karma in the sense that, like, not karma like in the sense of the Buddhist religion, but like the way we use the word karma.
Yes.
I believe in that. Like, if I was to just punch you in the face right now and steal things from your house, something bad would happen to me.
Yeah, I actually I talk about that. I don't know if I talked about it in my class that you were in, but in terms of Taoism, because I'm into Taoism, is that and they don't say it exactly like this, but that the universe is a self-correcting mechanism that's balanced.
Yeah,
and when
I do believe you said that.
Yeah, and so if you try to tip the balance, Tao will it'll snap back on you. You know what I mean? You can't ever. It may take a little while. The universe is big, but it will. You can never maintain that imbalance. It'll always like that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I believe there's complete balance in like everything, actually, even like simple things like grass.
Oh, that's great. All right. So, what are the places in literature that you find yourself leaning towards or you appreciate?
Well, I like plays too. Really, I like everything. Honestly, I'm optimistic.
And open.
Yeah. Shakespeare. You know, I really love Shakespeare, and I feel like that's really cliche to say. Like a lot of people love Shakespeare,
Sure.
obviously.
I love Shakespeare.
But you know, I'm just really captivated by it, and you know, I just love the way that it's like written out, and there's so much, like every single line, it seems like there's some literary like merit to and like quality. You know what I mean? And you can pull something out of like every word.
Yeah, he made up a lot of words too that we use today. Yeah. That's one of the things that he's famous for. I think Shakespeare is an NF, one of us, because only an NF would write Romeo and Juliet. They're young and they love each other and they die, and you know, we think about shit like that all the time. All right, what else? All right, so let's talk about this, because I know you have opinions on this. Is that one of the great opinions about Hamlet? No, it's a cliche. Is that Hamlet, whether or not Hamlet's crazy or not, and that's been argued about for centuries. Where do you lie? Is Hamlet crazy? Not crazy? What do you think?
I think that Hamlet is definitely not crazy. I think that any time where it seems like he's acting out or going crazy or doing something that, you know, someone who's in the right mindset wouldn't do, I think he's just acting out of passion. I think that he's really the first modern character to show up in literature where it's like he has actual emotions and like goes through different changes, you know what I mean? He's like very complex character.
Yeah, and he hems and haws.
Yeah.
The way people hem and haw.
Yeah, and I feel like the way he acts is almost like he's like satirizing people. Like, for example, when he's talking to Polonius most of the time, it's, you know, he is saying things that are almost nonsensical, but if you actually like try to get some meaning out of what he's saying, it's clear that he's just completely poking fun at Polonius. And I feel like that type of mindset is like, okay, well, I'm talking to an idiot, so why should I, you know, pretend to be smart? I'm going to be an idiot back at them.
Right, so what you're saying is Hamlet trolls Polonius.
Yes.
He's a troll.
He's basically the biggest troll in any literature.
He was ready, hipsters? He was a troll before it was cool.
He was.
Right?
He indeed was.
He was. All right, here's something that we never talked about before, but it just went into my head, and that is what role do you think the mother plays? What's her name? Is it not Gertrude? Gertrude is the mother. The queen, the mother, Hamlet's mother.
I think it's Gertrude.
Isn't it Gertrude?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So there's various interpretations that she wasn't in on the murder. She was in on the murder. She wasn't having an affair. She was having an affair, but not on the murder. She's kind of a whore. You know, there's various. Shakespeare never explains it. So what do you think about her? She good? She bad? Stupid?
I think if she wasn't, well, no, that would kind of make her in on it too. I was gonna say if she wasn't in on it, she definitely knew that. You know, I can't remember the king's brother's name.
Claudius.
She definitely knew that Claudius killed him, I think. But whether or not she caused like his death or played a direct role, I don't think so. But the fact that she even knew that it was going to happen or that it did happen, that is somewhat playing a role too. You know what I mean?
Wow. My projection onto this is that she didn't know about the murder, but she was fucking Claudius. Yeah. Prior to the murder. Yeah, that's why she marries like right after, because she's already been screwing him.
But I feel like if she was, you know, having that affair, then all of a sudden, you know, the king dies. Excuse me. The king dies, and it's like, you know, I feel like any person would be able to draw some kind of conclusion there. You know?
Go from A to B.
Yeah.
You'd think. All right. Anything else you want to say about literature before moving on?
Well, I also enjoy poetry.
Oh, that's right. In fact, the poetry on the NF Poets, Shane, when it says Shane, this is the Shane. from the Poets of
This is
NF
the
series.
Shane.
Yes, this is the actual author, so you can put a name
The
to the
Shane.
face. The Shane. Yes, the only Shane in that
Nice.
series. So
I like being the only Shane.
yeah, you are the only Shane.
I'm like one of the only Shanes in my high school too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right, so check that out. You can see the author. All right, so what do you think about poetry then? What are your thoughts?
Well, my favorite poet I'd have to say is definitely Robert Frost.
Mm.
You know, I feel like his poems really capture emotions specifically, whereas like, you know, obviously poetry contains ideas and stuff, but when I read his poems, I feel emotions, and it's like, it's working. Whatever he's writing down, it's working on me because he's making me
That's
feel
great.
it, you know what I mean? So.
And any poem that's your favorite, or where is your heart with Frost?
Well, actually, also my favorite poem is "The Road Not Taken" by Robert Frost.
Oh, wow.
I actually have it memorized too.
Oh, that's great. Maybe I'll have you recite it. All right, how do you feel about that one?
Well, this will kind of stray off into a different idea, but you know, I have these times in my life where I'll be, you know, thinking about things I've done and like thinking about my past and everything that's happened to me and, you know, like my future too, like where I'm heading, and I'll be like, I'm so goddamn proud of myself. Like I've come so far, and like from like what I was born into, like I could have been like I could have took that in the complete wrong direction, you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
But I decided to like make myself something better, you know what I mean? So it was
Yeah, sense of pride, self-love.
Yeah, and I feel like,
you know.
Yeah, and that poem really captures that emotion that I feel when I'm thinking about these things. So it's like, obviously at the end of the poem, he's like, and I took the road less traveled, and that has made all the difference. I feel that when I read that line, it just makes me feel the same emotion that I do when I'm thinking about, you know, I'm so proud of myself that I've come this far, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's great. Because I feel totally opposite, that I'm a total jackass and my whole life is pointless, and you know, I've completely just fumbled into adulthood, and you know, the nihilists were right, and life is absurd. What can I say? All right. Well, this can segue into something else I want to talk about, and I've always wanted to talk about with an INFJ specifically, and that is one of the things NFs want to be and kind of hope to sort of be like is to be sort of a sage. Well, that's true about me too, and all the NFs. But there's something particular INFJ about that. You know, we want to be the guy on the mountain with or female with you know, the wisdom. You know, somebody climbs up. You know, what's the meaning of life? And we say life is like a can of Coke. You know. So what? How does that resonate with you? Wanting to be sage-like, or just being sage-like, not necessarily wanting it.
It's kind of funny because, well, when you first started me as an INFJ, and then like I started reading about it and like getting more of the characteristics, I found it very funny that whole idea is part of this type, because, you know, all my close friends really they always poke fun at me because every time someone has like a problem or we're talking about something serious, I'll just come out of nowhere with like this wicked philosophical line that should be like written down in a book or something somewhere. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So, and like people are like, where did that even come from? Like, what do you say?
Oh, that's great. That's not only sage-like, that's classic INFJ. You know. All right, where does it come from? And you may have a hard time explaining it, but that's okay. If you could sort of, even metaphorically, poetically,
well, the need for me to be philosophical,
or just the ability to come out with that sort of sage-like advice.
Well, people often accuse me of being like somewhat narcissistic and stuff like that, and I don't know, I guess there's kind of that thing there. I mean, I just talked about like how proud I am of myself sometimes, you know what I mean? Obviously there's some kind of narcissistic things going on there, but it's like, I don't know, I don't feel like I think I'm the man or something like that, but I think, you know, maybe the want to be amazing and be like the best person that I can possibly be makes me want to be more in touch with like wisdom and like be able to tell people, you know, what's the right thing to do.
I can let me see if this is parallel, because I feel this way too in a different way. It's having confidence in your own process, you know, and confidence of where you're coming from, as opposed to coming from a position where you're not confident. Like that's why I talk the way I talk about Myers-Briggs. I come from a position of confidence about it. Would you say that's
Yeah, I think because I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, and I feel like that I've been through that. It makes me wiser, I guess you'd say, and I don't know, not that it makes me better than some people that have suffered through that, but I can I'm more in touch with like what is good because I've suffered through the bad. You know what I mean?
Sure. All right, I can see that. All right, any final words before we finish up this episode?
No, I think we covered a broad spectrum there.
All right,
So.
great. All right, well, thank you very much, Shane.
Yep.